Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on the video. It means a lot. If you guys keep clicking, I'll keep making it. Today we're back with another video. We're going to talk about possibly the worst episode in Survivor history. It seems that most people agree with the fact that this past episode was completely useless. It didn't really add anything, and I think we need to talk about it because this is just crazy. There's so much bad. Now there is some good, but there is a lot of bad, and I've been the first to come to 41's defense, with all of the episode 3 hate, but this is just unacceptable. Let's talk about it. First of all, stay tuned later on for my Saturday video. I'm going to tell you guys what that is going to be. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be good. And before we get into it, 72% of you guys who are watching these videos are not subscribed. Let's change that. It's easy and it's free. And if that's it, let's get right into this video. So what do we think going into this episode? So me personally, I'm thinking maybe it's just a base swap. It's like a 6-6 swap, and then we'll go to the merge. We had also thought maybe it's just a regular merge with just a very small, important twist. Maybe we thought that they were going to do like some sort of merge, but one person gets sent to an island, which we were kind of right, but also not. Nobody predicted this gigantic twist with all sorts of intricacies. There you go. That's a real word. But no one expected any of this. This is a very complicated. I'm gonna try and break it down for you guys because it seems like not many people understood it, me included. I'm just gonna talk about what I think of the episode. The pros and the many cons. So let's get into it, guys. All right. So the episode opens up with Ricard and Shantel bickering back and forth. And the topic that they are arguing about is the extra vote. I believe that it was Shantel's, but she gave it to Ricard when she lost her vote, because from what I understand, when you lose your vote, you also lose the ability to play an extra vote, because the whole point of an extra vote is that it's a vote on top of your own vote. So if you don't have that vote in the first place, you can't have an extra vote. And so Shan gave this to Ricard just in case they needed to use it at tribal for some reason. Then they could. And so it seems like Shan expected Ricard to give it back. In fact, she actually asked Ricard right before she had given it to Ricard, will you give it back to me? And Ricard said yes. So as much as maybe you want to side with Ricard on this one, I do feel like she did ask him and he said yes. So that's borderline, there's just no really argument about it. But then again, as we see, there's a bit more to it. Ricard feels like it's a lot less about the idol itself, and in the words of Ricard, it's becoming a very complicated situation in which it's more like a metaphor for how much he trusts her in the game. And if she's so shaky on that trust, he feels like, why should I trust you and give it back to you? In the end, he does give it back to her with a lot of hesitancy, but they both come out of the situation losing tons of trust for each other. And so it seems like we don't really have much trust there. It's not like a Malcolm and Denise situation where they go into the merge solid or something like that. It seems more like less of that, and more of like a Cass and Spencer situation where they go into the merge and then Cass flips. Now that doesn't mean that Ricard's gonna flip on Shan, but I don't think that they're very close. Especially after that, I feel like that single-handedly really hurt their alliance together. And I also have to say, usually in when there's an argument, I try to pick a side as to who I think is right or wrong. I gotta say here, I thought they both acted very childish here, and it almost was hard for me to find somebody to root for here because they were both saying very childish things and not acting very nice. It's obviously an idol. Just give it back and just ask nicely. It's two things that are very simple, and they respectively could not do these things at all. And so I don't know. I mean, this situation is weird. It's I am usually really pretty good at finding the good person and the bad person in most situations. And in this situation, I gotta say they both just sounded like 5-year-olds. So take that as you will. After this, we go to Yase, where we get a reaffirmation that XANDER is still on the outside of this tribe, and that the girls are, playing up this facade for XANDER, saying that, hey, it's us four strong going into the merge. It's like an underdog story, this, all that. But really, in reality, it seems like the women are strong and want to blindside him at some point post-merge. And so XANDER's not in a very good spot here. He does now get his vote back ever since Nasir found it in episode 5. I'm pretty sure it was 5. And so I guess he has that back, but now he's back in a bad spot. relationship-wise, I guess he kind of has a relationship with Evie or whatever, but I don't really know if that's the strongest one. It seems like that's more one-sided, and they seem to all be playing him. Now, as we'll see later, he does make relationships with Nasir and Danny, so it seems like that could be good. But you just never know. You just never know, because it seems like Xander is having such bad luck every single time he ends up on the screen. After this, we go to Luvu. We don't get much, but we do get Nasir saying, let's stay 6 strong, which I don't think is the case. I don't really think that Nasir thinks that's the case, and if he does, he's pretty silly statement to have. When you're 41 seasons deep, no one's saying 6 strong at the merge at all, especially not the 6 tribe per tribe. Maybe like a group of 3 or 4, but there's no alliance of 6 that's not gonna blindside each other ever at all, or even think about it. That's just not the case. Especially in a 3 tribe season, the tribe that has 6 people going in never gets to the end with 6 people. Even Shapira blindsided each other first, although that was also because Shan won. So I guess, yeah, there you go. In one season that it happened. The other 5, it didn't happen. After this, we get the challenge where Jeff is breaking the fourth wall, telling us about all of this stuff to do with, this stuff. This is a twist. I won't waste your time trying to rethink as to what he was saying, but as we'll talk about later, this twist was very, very complicated. And as a viewer watching it, I was like, slow down, Jeff. 1 and 2. What? I gotta say, Jeff's breaking the fourth wall was cute at first, and now it just feels really weird. It feels like I'm a family of like a Survivor watching family, and Jeff is trying to sell Survivor as a family product now. It's supposed to be a TV show, not Caillou. I just don't understand. I understand the whole midlife crisis Jeff is going through, but you gotta get it together, bro. You gotta get it together. This is not acceptable at all. It's just, no. After this, in the challenge, we get the boulder challenge, and eventually the blue half of the tribe wins. Now Nasir and Eric are left out here, and this is where we see that the blue group, including Danny, Deshawn, Sydney, I believe, is it Evie's in there too? I think, pick Nasir out of Nasir and Erica to go with them, and Erica is sent to a different island for 2 days, where she has to live alone, and she has no immunity, or so we think, at least at this point. Also, on top of that, the blue tribe at this point has full immunity at the merge, and everybody's merged at this point, but the blue tribe is fully immune from getting voted out. Now, I'm unaware if the blue tribe gets to vote at a merge, so I'm unaware if all 12 people are going to vote at the merge, and I'm also unaware if half, or if that half of the tribe that's vulnerable gets to vote. I'm very confused on this, and again, even me, a Survivor YouTuber, cannot figure this out. I can't imagine, someone who's just a regular family watcher or something. It's got to be so confusing. So at this point, we see both tribes come back together after the blue tribe feasts on the actual merge feast. So the idea is that the blue tribe gets the full merge experience, whereas the yellow tribe gets to merge, but not only are they vulnerable unlike the blue little group, but they also don't get the feast as well. So it seems not that important if you lose a challenge, as far as the feast goes, but it's more about having immunity here. We also get a segment with Nasir and Xander talking, and eventually Danny kind of moves into that conversation, and they talk about keeping the big threats, aka the guys, around, especially because Danny, who actually says this to Evie, I'm scared, y'all are keeping the girls around and voting off all the guys in the pre-merge. She's like, no, but Danny realizes, no, this is a serious issue, and a girl needs to go next, period. And I really think that this shows how smart Danny is. And again, whether you like the women's alliances or not, this isn't about that. This is about what's good for Danny's game. And what's good for Danny's game is to not end up like Eric and James and Jason and Ozzy from Micronesia and just get steamrolled by this all women's alliance. That's not what you want. And so to see this happen, it's very, very good gameplay by Danny, and only shows why I picked him as my winner pick. And so now it's a matter of if he can swing. Well, he probably has Sydney in his pocket, so that's already one girl. He has to get the rest of the guys, obviously, which he already has Deshawn and probably Nasir, and obviously he has Xander now, so that only leaves Ricard. But he doesn't really need Ricard. I think if he can swing Heather with him, and he needs one more person besides that. I feel like, yeah, because it'd be Danny. I'm counting them on my finger. Danny, Deshawn, Sydney, XANDER, and then if he can flip Heather on his tribe, that leaves one more to get 6, which is a at least tie majority at this round, which is usually enough to get a vote out. Because I don't see them going 6-6 at a merge vote. That'd be insane. But hopefully that happens. I mean, geez, we need something, because this episode is. I'm just feeling pain trying to discuss the episode, so I can imagine watching the episode again. On top of that, we see Deshawn, Danny, Liana, and Shantel get together, and they kind of bond over being the same race. And it's kind of like I mean, I don't watch Big Brother, but from what I hear, there was some sort of all-black alliance called the Cookout, and they all made it to the end. And apparently there was a black winner for the first time. And so that worked for them. And so it seems like we could have a part 2 of that. If someone wants to explain what happened in the comments in Big Brother, I sure as hell don't know. All I can tell you is one of them has like Xavier in his name or something. I don't even know. It's just, and the only reason I know it is because of kind of accidentally clicking on the wrong podcast with Rob has a podcast. So I think that shows you how uncultured I am with Big Brother. And I actually like to keep it that way. I'm not going to lie. And aside from this, all that we really see from this is, so obviously what's left really to talk about is the Erica thing. So we see Erica, go to this island. She's crying because she's all alone, but she starts to manage on her own. She makes fire. She's getting more of an edit. I wish we had seen this earlier, so we actually gave about her going to this island, but we obviously don't care about her because we've gotten like one episode where we actually got enough from Erica, and that was in episode 4, and that was only because they had to show her because the Blue Tribe is going after her. But as far as the first 3 episodes, we got nothing from Erica or Heather for that matter. And we still haven't really got much from Heather either. But at this point, after 2 days, Jeff comes onto the beach with Erica and they have a chat. And Jeff gives her a bottle. And he says, if you want to reverse history or reverse time or whatever this is, then you can smash the bottle with this hammer or a mallet or whatever. Or you do nothing. Now, how it works, from what I understand, is if she does nothing, then she gets put with the yellow, cohort of the merge tribe, in which is vulnerable. And if that's the case, then she is now vulnerable with them. But if she wants to flip it and smash the hourglass, then what she can do is become immune with the yellow group and send the entirety of the blue group to tribal. And so this could essentially cancel out all of the stuff from the challenge from this episode. All of this stuff could get canceled out if she decides to flip it. And if she doesn't, then this episode was boring because this entire twist that they were building up meant nothing. Now do you understand why I'm calling it a lose-lose scenario? I don't see any scenario where this comes out where I'm like, well, I was so wrong about this. Oh my God. I mean, obviously we want her to change it so that there's something that came out of that episode. And okay, so let's go with that gate, right? Let's say she changes it, because that's the thing that we need her to do, or else we just wasted an hour of our life last episode, and we probably already did. That's okay. But okay, so let's say hypothetically that she changes it, right? Now she's immune, which is obviously what she needs to do. I don't see any scenario where this is a good idea. And then that leaves the cohort of the cohort that involves Nasir, that involves Danny, it involves Deshawn, it also involves Sydney, I think it involves Evie, and maybe Rakar's the other one. I think that's it. I think it's because I think it maybe it's 5. Hold on. So Danny, Deshawn, Sydney, Evie, and Nasir. Nope, it's those 5. Now, if they go to tribal, I'm worried for Evie for sure. I don't know any scenario where that power 3 trip flips on each other, and so if that's the case, that leaves Nasir in a spot where even if Nasir wanted to flip on them, what is he going to do? I mean, so but Evie hasn't. Wait, what does Evie even have? I think Evie has an extra vote? I'm so confused. Oh, this is the thing, is with all these advantages, me, someone who's like genuinely doing research on this and keeping updated every single day, I don't even know if Evie has something in her pocket. I know Nasir has an idol, so I guess if Nasir wanted to do something crazy, then he could play it on Evie. Then they could just split the votes on Evie, but then if Nasir flipped, then that would tie it. I don't know. It's very complicated, but it seems like as long as they don't screw it up, that's an easy Evie boot. Unless Nasir feels like he wants to work with Evie, but we've got no indication that that's the case. All right, let me talk about my thoughts on all this now. So now that I gave you like the unbiased recap, let me talk about how I feel about this train wreck. So Cookout 2.0, which the Cookout is the Black Alliance. I'm calling it the Cookout 2.0 until it gets a name, which inevitably is going to happen on Twitter. So, I mean, if this works for them, that's cool. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of racial-based alliances. I think it's just kind of like, I mean, again, as I always say, political stuff is never welcome in Survivor and in my book, and this gets very close to getting political. And so I'm not a big fan of it, but I understand why they're doing it. It's very similar to the Danny thing with, staying strong with the guys. It's not that Danny is like, trying to be malicious and hates women. It's just that he knows that this is probably best for his game. And honestly, for Deshaun, Danny, Shantel, and Liana, of course, it's best to have more choices and options in creating a new alliance. On top of that, this alliance, because they are so strong in their background together, I'm worried that they may just not, flip on each other, because alliances that are based in this sort of experience, that's a lifelong experience of having that skin tone, I'm worried that this could lead to a very boring post merge, because if an alliance like that sticks together, because it seems like if any alliance would, it's the Black Alliance, because like the whole stay strong, I feel like we could have a very boring post merge where they don't flip on each other at all, and I don't want that. I do not want a Wendell and Dom situation, except it's 4 people. That's even worse. So those are my thoughts on the Cookout. What are let's just pause. What are your guys' thoughts on the Cookout? You guys like it? Don't like it? Why? Tell me about it. All opinions are welcome. You're good. Next, I want to talk about, we did see like Liana and Shantel becoming a power duo in this game, and we also saw them teaming up with the other big guy power duo in this game in Deshaun and Danny, who can also pull in Sydney. So we could see the 4 from the Cookout 2.0 pulling in Sydney, and then maybe like I'd say maybe Shantel pulls Ricard in, and that's a 6 already. And speaking of Liana and Shantel, Liana's closest ally was Evie, right? And then Chantel's closest ally was Ricard, both in the pre-merge. And it seems like both Liana and Shantel have kind of dumped Evie and Ricard outside and just kind of said, no, you're not cool anymore. This other person is who's like my true number 1. And so are Evie and Evie and Ricard kind of getting thrown to the wayside? Like, what's going on here? I don't know. It's very, very odd, and I feel like overall it sucks for especially Ricard, because it feels like Shan and Ricard having that fight really hurts Ricard, because Shan has more power and more abilities to make relationships, whereas Ricard kind of gets left out to dry because Ricard needed Shan to get far in the game. I think Ricard's only way that he wanted is to go with Shan all the way to the end, and then beat her and fire at the end, or like blinds at her at like 6 or 7 or something like that. And so I feel like this is bad for Evie and Ricard definitely in the long term, because they're building bonds both with each other, and them being Shantel and Liana, and also with other people. Let's take a break from all this negativity. Jeez, I can't even speak English today. This is how bad this episode is. Okay. Let's take a break from this and talk about positive things. I did like the challenge. I thought the challenge made me feel like, yeah, like this is like a really cool challenge. What I didn't like was Jeff constantly, you got a dick. Oh my god, this is like the best display of teamwork in Survivor history. Like, it got annoying after like the second time. It got laughably like cringe after the second time. This was more cringe than him doing the whole fourth wall thing. Stop, Jeff. Just stop, man. Just stop, dude. Next, I want to talk about, Nasir being saved. Does this mean that Nasir is in some really, really good spot? Because obviously we see the power trio on Luvu, who at this point has a lot of power, especially on their cohort in their tribe, say Nasir. And Nasir needs this power trio, especially in his cohort, if Erica flips it, and that's because if Erica flips it, then that's gonna send Nasir, Danny, Sydney, and Deshaun, and Evie to tribal, leaving Evie or Nasir on the chopping block most likely. And if that's the case, Nasir needs to want the power trio to pick him over Evie to stay. And so that's good for Nasir that they picked him over Erica. Now, is Erica much competition as far as social bonds? Probably not. But we did see Nasir in episode 5 really finally have like a good combo, good interaction with the power trio on his tribe. That's actually a really good thing for him. And it seems like he's definitely going to fly up our power rankings on Sunday when we do our power rankings podcast. Let's talk about Erica. So first of all, Erica being sent, what does that mean about her social game? Obviously, it's weak. Obviously, on her tribe, she just didn't gel. Obviously, there's a big power trio on her tribe in Sydney, Deshawn, and Danny, who she did not fit in with. And then on top of that, she failed to make bonds with Nasir or Heather, the two people that were kind of up for grabs there. If she could have, it's a whole different story. But because of that, it seems like Nasir and Heather wouldn't stick their head out on a platter for Erica. And then on top of that, it seems like the power trio wants her out more than Nasir and Heather, because they feel like Erica's a better player. And on top of that, when she went to this island, they think that she's going to have an advantage coming back. And so just about everyone was down to vote out Erica before she got the disadvantage. And obviously, as an audience, we can only assume that she's going to take the advantage, obviously. And if that's the case, then now that switches up everything. And I kind of thought that was going to be the case, because it seems like it was so obvious that they were going to vote out Erica that it's almost too obvious. Let's talk about the twist. Let's just do it. I may rant, I may not. I don't know. She has the option to flip things. As I explained earlier, you can rewind and go back if you didn't understand it. This twist is broken. Jeff not only wants her to quote-unquote reverse time, because Jeff comes up to her and says, do you want to make a big move and change history or not? And he makes his voice all over the not part. It's like, what do you think Jeff wants her to pay? It's so obvious that production here is trying. I feel like this is one of the first times where I genuinely feel like production here is overstepping their bounds here. This is too much production interference. Not only is production giving someone this power, but then they're also coercing them, saying, these people sent you to this island. How mean of them. Oh, look, you're crying, and then you're going to turn around and try and save them. And no, you need to flip the game and make history. And they're obviously playing up on all of these newbies' big move itis. It's just, oh my God, it's so bad. It does not help the show at all. I don't understand what they think of course, not only does it, give her immunity, but it also is a big move that she can use at the end. If she gets to the end on her resume. I think this is so stupid of them to think for a second that she's not going to take this. I think it's a very predictable twist that, as I've said earlier, and on the post game show yesterday. By the way, go check that out. I've said countless times, this has a lose-lose scenario, because if she doesn't pick to change it, this whole episode was just like a build up to no twist. And if she chooses to change it, then this whole episode was useless, because the challenge it isn't going to mean anything. So either way, this episode is one word: useless. The only thing that you need from this episode, if you're watching this on Paramount Plus 10 years from now, all you need is a paragraph summary on EW from Dalton Ross, and you'll basically get the entirety of the episode. Not a 3-page summary, not a 1-page summary, but a literal 3-sentence summary of the entire episode, and that's all you need. You did not need to waste time. And on top of that, after all of this, there's no one who goes home. Are you kidding me? After all this terrible episode, now you're not even gonna go to tribal. Not even go to tribal. At least in the one other episode where no one went home, in the Panama episode, in which it ends on the cliffhanger of, is Sari gonna beat I believe it's Danielle in firemaking. If that's the case, I can understand. But what's not okay, for me at least, is when you don't even go to tribal. You don't even get to go to tribal. There's no quit. There's no medevac. You don't even go to tribal, let alone vote somebody out. This is disappointing, especially for a merge episode. This is unacceptable, and it's really ruined the merge. Imagine this season, but Kagion format. So it's a three episodes in which the premiere has 2 boots, and then in the 4th episode it's a merge for 2 or 3 votes, and then they merge at 11, in which it's just a regular merge. Oh, and by the way, there's also a swap at final in the 4th episode. There, it's the same challenges, and then it's the same twists minus the super idol. I don't like that, but besides that, it's the same stuff all the way to the end, where it's a finale at 4 and a final 2. Imagine if this season had that format. It would be golden, because this cast is fantastic. They're not trusting their cast. They're just not, period. And it's not okay, and it's not helping them, brand wise. It's not helping them money wise. And when you talk, I families in my chat, or at least dads or moms of family, or even kids of families that come in my chat, and they're like, I had no idea what's going on. My family didn't know. And so even if they're trying to play up to this family demographic, Or, people are saying, they're playing up for like the super fan teenager demographic. I'm the super fan teenager demographic, and I don't like it. And obviously, I've talked to dads and moms in my chat who are saying my kids are like, "What do you mean reverse time?" Which, oh, by the way, super cute. But then on top of that, it's so true. I'm done ranting, but I just needed to get it out. I see no reason for this twist. I don't think it helps Survivor at all. Again, I will always stay for Survivor, even if it becomes a woke cesspool of complete politics and terrible twists. It's the show that has defined the past 2 years of my life. I've gone through 40 seasons in 2 years and had plenty of time to spare, and I'll continue to watch every season live and sit down five minutes before every episode just to take a breather because this show's changed my life. That does not mean that because you love something, you can't find critiques in it and try and better it. When you're passionate about something, you care enough to get mad at this stuff. And one more thing, if this twist is going to happen and it's going to be Erica who has this big decision, edit her more, especially in those first 3 episodes and in the 5th episode. Obviously in the 4th episode we got I'd say pretty decent amount of screen time for her, but give her more especially in those first 3 episodes, and then also in that 5th episode, so we at least care about her. Imagine if this twist happens and it's like Shantel or Evie or even Xander. That would be so much cooler. Or even like Nasir. Like at least we, as confusing as Nasir's edit is, at least we got one from him. And so to see just completely no edit from her, especially in those first 3 episodes and also in the 5th episode, it's like, how am I supposed to care about the person who's doing the twist, especially if the twist itself is so boring and just not needed. I'm going to stop because I feel like I'm kind of going over the same stuff. If you disagree, if you just completely are like, Spencer, what are you talking about, in the comments, tell me about it. It's okay. I don't delete chats. I don't do any of that stuff. We will allow healthy discourse here in the chat. And if you agree with me, tell me about it in the chat. So what do you guys think? Bad twist, good twist, bad merge, good merge, worst episode, not that bad, amazing episode, best episode of the season? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious to see what you guys think. Whew, I'm taking deep breaths here. Sorry. Thank you guys for the continued support, liking, sharing, subscribing, but most importantly, turning on that notification bell and pressing all at the top. It means the most to me, guys. And again, daily content continues throughout this entire week. On Saturday's video, it's going to be a video on just breaking down the merge. Who has the best shot to win, something like that. I haven't really fleshed out the full idea yet, but I'll figure it out when I get to it. Thank you for the continued support. Now, daily content continues as always, guys. And if that's it, guys, I will talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.